What's going on, everyone? So I made a video diving into Sidney Prescott being the opening scene attack. Obviously, they're not going to kill her in the opening scene, but her being the opening scene attack kind of broke down how I think that could kind of set the table and really kind of drive a story into the rest of the film for the upcoming Scream 7. But one of the things that I talked about kind of heavy in that film or in that video that I wanted to kind of dive into and explore a little more, and of course I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comments, is the potential for, an opening Ghostface death, as well as maybe potentially reveal, and different kind of avenues that you could do with Ghostface early on. If they go the cult route, which is a very real possibility that they could end up going the cult route, if they go the cult route, I think it would make a ton of sense to have, and it's also a way to have multiple killers, right? Like, you look at Scream 6, right? You had Jason and Greg, so you technically had 5 Ghostface, right? Some people, because Sam put on the costume, you could argue 6, but I think, the bad guys, right? The bad Ghostface were 5. And then the 2 died in the opening scene, right? I think that would be a creative way, whether Sidney is the opening scene or not, right? Like, establish that that the Ghostface are everywhere, right? And the reason I like the idea of having early Ghostface kills in this one in particular, if they go the cult route, which appears to be the direction that they're going to go, if they go the cult route, I like the idea of, having the opening scene kill maybe even be the Ghostface, or kind of a combination, right? Like, Ghostface takes a couple of people out, and then maybe Ghostface end up getting taken out in the process too. Maybe the cops show up or something like that, take them out. Because the reason I like that idea is because now you, from an audience standpoint, oh no, this is only the beginning. But you kind of, in the movie standpoint, it's just like, oh, it's over, this was just an isolated incident, blah, blah. Right now, the town's at a high, Sidney's at a high, you put a bunch of pressure on Sidney, the town's kind of looking at Sidney different because, Ghostface is linked to her, right? Like, you can kind of draw this film that really could be very different. But what it also does is, it also could lay the framework to kind of introduce the cult, right? Where, those 2 dying, it's only the beginning. Maybe it gets established by the police that, oh no, there's more coming, but they're trying to kind of play it cool, right? Like, hey, everything's fine, this was just an isolated incident, everything's good, we took him out, we took care of it, but really, they're like, hey, we need to keep an eye on Sidney, right? We need to make sure Sidney's good because more coming. Or, like I said, even Sidney maybe takes out a couple Ghostface, right? And you get to see that, an early attack scene where she ends up taking out the Ghostface, and maybe, right before she kills one, they say, oh, you think that we're it? Oh, this is only the beginning or something like that, right? And you really just set and establish the tone that you want, and then what's to come for the upcoming film. And you have almost like these sort of waves of Ghostface, right? This sort of, almost like sleeper cells, like 2 die, 2 come back, right? And it's like, why 2? Well, it's just been the standard of Scream and Stab, right? Because that's probably what it would tie into, is Stab. But it's like, hey, that's been the tie-in. That's how it's, been connected, and blah, 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 right? Like, I think that could be a kind of a fun way to go about this and approach this, and have, again, Sidney Prescott be the one that takes out Ghostface. It would make a ton of sense. Cops are telling her, oh, it's an isolated incident. She's like, no, they told me this, blah, blah, blah. And then, lo and behold, killings start again. And she's like, see, I knew this was coming. But she's prepared. She's ready. But you could also create this, rift with their family. Like, her daughter, she's trying to be overprotective daughter. And she's just like, I understand that you've been attacked. Or, maybe her daughter kind of resents her. Like, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you. All my friends think you're weird or whatever, right? And she's the angel of death once again. And everyone's just like, oh, you ruined my life type thing, right? Like, you can have this kind of kind of build up where, Sydney is painted as the bad guy through the town, right? She is painted as the bad person. Like, all of this happens because of that, right? Maybe, someone's son dies or whatever, and it's like, because of you, my son died, and, and you kind of have that backlash that she would have to experience and she would have to deal with. Right? I think that could be a creative way, but again, you kind of set the tone, you set the table, which is what the opening scene is supposed to do. But even if it's like, let's say it's not the opening scene, right? Let's say it's like, or maybe it's an extended opening scene like we saw in Scream 6, right? Like, there's ways to go about it. There's ways to be creative. There's ways that you could kind of make this make sense and make it work. At the end of the day, it's just like, about the storytelling and execution. But I don't hate the idea of, establishing an early Ghostface, establishing a ghost, the menacing and dark tones of Ghostface. I think you'd have to have some people die, right? So I'd love it if it was something, where, maybe one of the neighbor's kids is the babysitter, right? And that Ghostface shows up to Sydney's house to go and take out her, but she's not there because she's out and about, right? Like, and the babysitter's there, and the babysitter gets killed and taken out. And then Sydney shows up like right in the nick of time to save her children. And then that could be something that kind of, hey, I need to get my children out of here. So then there's talks about Sydney's children being with grandma. Well, that could be a way to explain even that, right? Like, why would they be? Okay, because I was just attacked. I'm not going to have my little ones here in case Ghostface comes back. I'm going to need to kind of, maybe we're moving or something like that. Maybe that's where Tatum's kind of pushback is. Like, you're crazy. I'm not moving. Like, I'm not leaving my school and all that stuff because, Ghostface keeps wanting to attack you. They're not coming after me type thing. Right? And just have, the teenage, right? The teenage pushback. I think that could be a fun way to kind of, again, approach this and kind of go about it. I just really like the idea of a early Ghostface, not only attack, but kill, right? Like, you could do reveal, you could do all that stuff if you wanted to, whatever approach you want to take with it. But I look at this and I just go like, you should be looking to do different things. You should be looking to kind of go in different directions. And in particular, if you're going to go the cult route, like, which is what it seems like it's going to be, then I think that's the approach that you should take, is have that early establishment of Ghostface, right? They die. We know, this is only the beginning, even if the characters in the film don't know that. And then you kind of can piggyback off that and kind of push it forward from there. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with all my points? Do you disagree with all my points? Do you like the idea of them having an early Ghostface kill, maybe even like a reveal type thing? Do you want Sydney to be involved in that? You want somebody else to be involved with that, right? Like maybe the cops show up and take out those Ghostface. Do you think that that'd be a great way to kind of set the tone and establish the film going forward, especially if they do go the cult route? Obviously, everything's just rumor and thought and speculation until it's not. And again, this is just kind of my thoughts. I'm just funneling out my thoughts, which is, why, as always, I would want to hear from you. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.